All right, guys, it's the next day, and I'm gonna go ahead and start seasoning this new to me Lodge 12-inch Dutch oven. And as you can see, I've got it in the Kamado here, and what I did is I burned it out yesterday. I got this thing up to about 500 degrees and put the Dutch oven in here and just let it burn out. So this is the first I'm looking at it with it nice and cool. But before I did this, it was pretty rusty and crusty. The lid was stuck to the base, and I couldn't even see the inside of the pot whenever I had bought it. But they gave me a really good deal on it. So I picked it up, brought it home, got the lid off, and wire brushed everything really well. Both the lid and the pot here. Wire brushed it inside and out. And then stuck it in this really hot Kamado to burn it out. So I'm going to go ahead and start the seasoning phase of it now. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and wash it. Go ahead and wash it good and get the, you can see it's got a little bit of dust in there, you know, soot. So we need to go ahead and wash it real good. And then I'm going to dry it with some heat. And then we're going to start the seasoning process back right here with the Kamado. I'm just using some of the green Scotch-Brite pads with some Dawn dish soap, and the Scotch-Brite will help to scrape, rub, and buff out any of the remaining rust and crust that's still kind of sitting there on the surface. I'm going to do the whole thing this way. We're going to do the lid the same way. Just give it a good buff with the Scotch-Brite here. I'm still seeing a little bit of the rusty layer that was already in there, even though we burned it out. I'm using the Scotch-Brite to buff that rust out of there, what's left of it. Really just trying to get all of the surface contaminants off of the cast iron so that we can have the best seasoning layer we can right there on the bare metal. And the Scotch-Brite works good for that. All right, after we scrub them good and I do a hand dry, I'm going to bring them over here to my stove. And what we're going to do is set them on here and just get them nice and warm. Let's go ahead and get them nice and warm and dry them fully using the heat before we coat them down with our seasoning. So it's still got a little bit of water on there. And then there's my rags that I was using to dry them. You can see I'm still pulling, you know, dirtiness off of it from the rust and the old remaining seasoning that was on it. But we'll do this and we'll warm them up, let them get nice and warm, and make sure all that moisture is gone off the surfaces there. Just seeing what the temp is, so looks like right around 225, 230. That one's a little bit hotter there, so that's good to go. We're ready to go ahead and rub them down with our seasoning now. So in the meantime, I've been getting the Kamado nice and hot. This is what I've been using to do my seasoning with. And I like using the Kamado or the outside grill. You can use any grill. It just helps keep the smoke out of the house unless you can open the windows up. So you can see we got the charcoal burning nice and hot there. Everything's getting evened out, and I'm just letting the Kamado get up to a nice even temperature. And the target that I'm shooting for is 400 degrees. I'd say 375 to 400 degrees is my target temp. So I'm going to try to get it settled out right in that range there. So this is what I'm going to be using to season this Dutch oven. This is the Krispy Kreme. All right, this is a new product to me that I haven't used before, and this is not a sponsorship. I bought this with my own funds. This was recommended by several of my followers whenever I shared the cornbread pan. Okay, so I've always traditionally used vegetable shortening to season all my cast iron, and it's a good tried and true method that's worked well for generations, really. So this is something newer that I want to try based off recommendations. So this is what we're going to use. I bought this one, and I also bought the stick formula as well, so that I can try both of them and see how they work. So they're still a little bit warm. I'm going to let them cool down some so I can handle them with my hands, and then we're going to start getting this buffed into the cast iron here. All right, our cast is now not hot enough to where I can't keep my hands on it. So let's go ahead and start it. Move that one down here out of our way. So we're going to apply a few drops of our Crisbee. So this is made, according to Crisbee, this is made from non-GMO sunflower oil and beeswax. And they claim that it does a better job than using vegetable shortening. And according to the people that recommended it, they think that it does a better job at seasoning as well. I've got clean hands here, so I'm just going to use my hands. It seems to be the best way to get this thing rubbed with the Crisbee here. And according to their directions, they say to, cover it good with the formula here and wipe it dry. Wipe it until it appears to be dry, and then we'll do our seasoning on it. I'm going to put a little bit more on the side there. They say it does not take much. These drops go a long ways. All right, so we got the main pot now completely covered. I'm gonna go ahead and do the lid before I wipe it dry. Like I said, I just prefer to use my hands because when you use a towel, you're mopping up some of that fluid there, and I think it kind of takes away from trying to get it completely covered well. So I just do it this way, and it works well for me. All right, so we've got both the pot and the lid nicely covered with our Crisbee, so I'm going to go ahead and they say to wipe it until it appears dry. It seems a little odd to me to do it that way because with the shortening, this is kind of the look that you want, except you don't want it excessive anyway. You just want to wipe a nice smooth layer on it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this since that's what they say to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lightly wipe it until it appears kind of dry. And we'll repeat it with the pot here. All right, we've got our Kamado running at a consistent 400 degrees. That's the temp that Crisbee recommends for their product as well. So we're going to use that. And we'll go ahead and stack our pieces in here. I can't fit them side by side perfectly, so on the lid here, we're just going to go just like that. We'll just lean it up on there just like so. All right. So go ahead and close her up so we can maintain that burn in. And I've got my handy timer right here. We'll go ahead and start it. And I'm just going to monitor it. So we're going to let this burn in for an hour at 400 degrees. And I'm going to shut the vents off and just let it slowly cool. And I'll come back out here in the morning and repeat the process. But when we come back out, I'll show you what this looks like after our first seasoning. Okay, so I've been maintaining a good hour running at 400 degrees on the Kamado. So our first seasoning should be done. So I'm going to go ahead and close the upper and lower vents. Close that one, and the bottom one's only open not even a ½ inch to maintain that. All right, so we're just going to let it cool off. So we're actually getting ready to leave, go over to Abby's parents' house to have some dinner, and I'll be back tomorrow to check on it and start the next seasoning. Here's the results to our first seasoning on the Lodge 12-inch Dutch oven. It looks like it did a good job. Looks pretty good. I might have gotten it a little bit heavy right around the letters on the casting here on the lid. You can see where it was trying to run down just a little bit before it got hard there on the surface. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and repeat the steps 3 more times using the Crisbee cream here. And this is something easy to do during the day while I'm in the shop working. Go ahead and get the Kamado, get it nice and hot, and just do this during the day, you know, while I'm in the shop working there. So I'm going to do it 3 more times, all right? And I'll bring you guys back again and show you what the results look like after we season this thing a total of 4 times, all right? All right, guys, well, as promised, I brought you back after a total of 4 seasonings. So I recently pulled this out of the oven. It's actually still warm to the touch there. But I have got a total of 4 seasonings with this Crisbee cream. And I like the way it looks. It turned out pretty good. This is the first time that I've seasoned a cast iron pot from cleanup with the Crisbee, and I think it did a pretty good job. There's under the lid there. We got the sides of it real nice too. And then take a look at inside the pot. I have not rubbed it down with the Crisbee yet. This is straight out of the oven, so it's still, it's dry. I don't have a coating on it again, but it does look good. It's looking real nice. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it works and how it holds up. According to the testimonies of the people that recommended it, they all like it and they say it works well. People are claiming that this works better than the vegetable shortening or the vegetable oil there. So I don't know, because this is the first time that I've used it. I just know that it's looking good, especially after 4 seasons like that. So I'll go ahead and get it coated down again, and it'll be ready to use, put to work, cooking some food. So I will, I'd like to share this thing again, whenever I decide to cook a meal in it. I'll bring you guys back and we'll see this thing in action. But it's been a lot of fun getting this thing. I got it for a really good deal at the antique store and brought it home, cleaned it up, made it look just like new again, I've actually been buying and using cast iron cookware for a little over 20 years now. I've got a few pans that I bought, back when I was in my 20s, and still use those things. I've got some that I've inherited from my family, and I'm sort of, I don't know, it's like a passion's kind of been reborn here lately whenever I started getting into the camp ovens and the Dutch ovens here. And now I'm starting to pay more attention to the condition of the cast iron that I have. So I've been taking some of my older ones that I haven't used in a while, that, you know, neglecting them, cleaning them up and re-seasoning them, you know. But definitely wanted to share this with you because this was a lot of fun. So I'll bring you guys back whenever we decide what we're going to cook in this thing for the first time, and we will see it in action.